Hello summoners and welcome back to another video. I know why you guys are here. You are looking for a way to climb rank, but you are not able to climb the rank due to your own mistakes. Now, I will show you the mistakes that you should avoid. Here are the top 8 low elo mistakes. If you find that you're stuck and you can't seem to rank up, look no further, as I have brought up a lot of points, and it's likely one or even several of them might be relevant to you. The preseason or beta is the perfect time for you guys to recognize your flaws and begin to work on them, so don't feel called out. If any of these apply to you, we're all there with you or we're there with you at one point. It's all a part of the process. And if you want to be an esport player, then feel free to join our server and start playing scrims. Right now, let's get started with the video. The first thing that I noted was that a lot of players don't understand when they need to recall. I mean, most players understand that when they have a lot of money they need to go home and spend it. Many also understand that it's a good time to recall after pushing a wave. So, in other words, they understand good recall timers. When they're in an advantage. For those of you that don't, just note that before you recall you should do your best to shove the minion wave into the enemy turret beforehand. This is because it will maximize the amount of gold that you gain and also make sure that you lose fewer minions in the long run. What I see more often is that players don't know how to recall in any other scenario when they're too low or an unfavorable situation. A lot of the players I looked at just continue to bleed out instead of recalling in situations where you've simply been put to something that you can't do anything, or because you're too low, or because you're going to get dove. You need to back off and you need to recall. I've honestly seen too many top and bot laners stick around when they are obviously going to die. Just recall and come back to lane so you can retake control. Next is one that you've probably heard a lot, which is placing or using wards. Seriously, guys, a lot of players, especially in silver and bronze and iron, just don't want to use wards. It's not League PC that you have to buy wards. You are simply given wards for free. You don't have to place wards for others but for yourself. A lot of the time, if you're going to play aggressively and getting favorable trades, your opponent won't even clear the ward that you place. Instead, it'll finally get cleared out. And when the enemy jungler ganks you and you die, you will find placing a ward was a better idea. You guys probably see this all the time, and I could not ignore the fact that I saw this all the time. Which is players abruptly stopped playing the game just to type. And also, they're also blaming their teammates at the same time, which is just a double whammy of bad. I've seen way too many players start typing, get ganked or engaged on, and then die. Seriously, if there's a time and a place for this stuff, and one of the most tilting things is dying while typing, the only thing that's more tilting is watching someone else die while typing. So, honestly, it's something that we all have to stop doing. If you have something helpful to type, you can do so in a good spot where you won't die, or if you're already dead. Another thing that I learned about low elo players is that they're way too focused on their own screen to look anywhere else. Now, again, there's an appropriate time to do this. You don't want to be looking bot lane when you're top lane and trading in an intense 1v1, but after you clear the wave and you're just sitting under your turret, maybe even waiting for minions. It does not hurt you to take a peek at other lanes. Just like my friend who is just a beginner. He only focuses on his lane and doesn't even care what is going on the other lanes, and he even doesn't know where the fight is going on. If you find the opportunity, even if you are mid-lane assassins, you have to do this. Typically junglers are doing a better job of this already, since it's kind of part of the role, but for laners in low elo, this is something that you need to fix. Many of you probably watch your favorite streamers or pro players and want to play like them, and that's great, but a lot of you guys don't do it right. There is a proper way to roam, and it all starts with your minion wave. If you are constantly roaming picking up random kills, your results will be fairly inconsistent. Sometimes you'll pick up 3 kills and take over the game, other times you'll fail, fall behind and become irrelevant to the game. The key here is to make sure you lose less when you roam, and that all starts with properly playing with your wave. Whenever you're in a position to roam, it should either mean that you are in complete control of the wave, or you are willing to sacrifice your wave for the opportunity. As soon as you start to roam, you need to know what you're risking here. If you're stronger than your opponent and can dictate the wave, you have literally no reason not to slow push the wave zone off your opponent and lose nothing. When you crash a bigger wave into the enemy turret, that means they're stuck in their lane longer, and it also means they'll need to spend more time clearing the big wave. On the same topic of slow pushing, there's something else that a lot of players aren't doing nearly enough, and this was especially prevalent in silver and below, where players weren't zoning at all. Almost all of us understand trading to some extent. When you're stronger or will deal more damage than your opponent, trading is a good idea because you will deal more damage than you will take back. But when your opponent is also aware that you are stronger than them, the proper reaction by them should be to avoid trading with you. Now a lot of you guys might be playing and thinking, well, my opponent is playing super safe and there's nothing that I can do about it. But you could still get more out of it. Zoning refers to a player moving forward aggressively with the intent of trading, forcing their opponent to back off. You want to use these power advantages to push your enemies off of the menu wave, regardless of the state of your wave. When it's pushing toward you, this will cause them to not only miss farm, but also experience, and then with experienced advantages, you have opportunities to all in at level 5 when you hit that huge power spike before your opponent. When the wave is pushing toward your opponent, zoning is essential. You can sometimes force your opponent to force them to fight when they don't want fight to overall. You want to apply as much pressure as you possibly can and put people in uncomfortable situations. Another thing that goes hand in hand is not using your power advantages effectively. Two of the most common power spikes for champions are at level 2 and level 5. In spite of this, we saw a lot of players hitting level 2 who weren't prepared to all in their opponent. This is another scenario where zoning comes into play. If your opponent knows that you're gonna hit level 2 or level 5 first, they must back off because you are going to be able to get off nasty trade. When they don't respect this, you should be able to win nearly any lane matchup off of a great trade alone. And in cases where they do respect it, you want to get the most out of it. Hitting level 2 first can potentially allow you to force your opponent to back off and miss a minion. This single minion could even be the difference between life or death later. Because when you hit your next power spike at level 5, your opponent will still be one minion behind you, and it's honestly quite common for them to even forget that they missed a minion. When the power spikes are though playing against them and playing as the champion, you need to learn how they work and capitalize on them. Before the last one, if you think the tip was a little bit helpful, then please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. The final issue that we noticed is a very simple. Players often are building the exact same items in the same order every game. You need to adapt. Yes, champions definitely have core items that they'll build in almost every single game. You're right, but there are scenarios where you need to build specific items. When you have that one guy spamming build armor or build hexdrinker in your team's chat, they might be onto something. Consider the circumstances of who's fed on the enemy team or what champions the enemy team has. If you're in a spree, or how much gold you have to spare. And according to me, honestly, defensive items are so much more cost-effective, and hexdrinker is one of the best items in regards to its gold value and bonus stat value. Sometimes though you need to change up which offensive items that can win you an important team fight outright. And I know the voice in the video was like rap. Sorry for that. That were all the things that I can teach. If you want to see more about this, then comment down below and subscribe to my channel for more of the same content. And I will bring more this type of content. And hope you guys like this and learn something from this. If you have any issues regarding this, then do contact me on Instagram. Or you can contact me on Twitter. Or you may join our Discord and get help from our lovely members. So, this much for today's video. And hope you guys enjoyed it. See you in the next video. Bye bye, have a nice day.